Hi, it's a lovely evening here in Lancashire. I've just been on holiday in Cornwall, where I stopped at a proper campsite with some, my sister and a brother-in-law, and it's a proper campsite. So I did some videos on setting ponchos and Basha up, which I'm going to upload later. Excuse me, I've got the sun in my eyes here. Which I'm going to upload later. But I haven't done so yet because I've edited them. And while I was there, I changed them about because of the varying weather conditions, so I just thought I'd show you that. As you know, I live on high ground and most of my walking is done on high ground, so it's rarely I get to set up in hammock situations, so most of my setups tend to be ground setups. During that stay in Cornwall, I wanted to do one on the beach. I was going to set a poncho up on the beach, but I probably would have taken the Basha actually, thinking of, just to show you what you do if it's sandy conditions, or indeed in snow. If you're a hardy bugger and go out in the winter. Now then, the problem obviously you've got is securing the guy lines or bungees. So what I was going to suggest, the weather was so foul I didn't want to do it. It went off in the last 3 days of the week or two, so I didn't fancy a night on the beach. It would be nice to have an open fire and maybe even get a few fish in there and whatever, some shellfish and what have you. But to basically secure your tarp or your basher or your poncho is simply to get a storm, which usually there's a plethora of on the beach. Wrap a bungee or your guy line around it, knot it, then put it down at a 45-degree angle opposite to the line coming off. So you go in with the line coming off to secure the tarp or the poncho, bait about at least a foot deep, leave it trailing end coming out, and then just overlay it with sand or snow or whatever, or even earth if it's in bumpy conditions or other storms, and you should be secure. You could even go so far as to make sand or snow securing points with a piece of say aluminium. You could just put some holes in it, some loops through, say a triangular piece, so it's easy to shoot down into the ground. For either to clip bungees in or to put the guy line into, and then just, as I say, weight it up. So that's what I was about today, to fill in that little gap. Obviously a nice beach and all the rest of it, which I hope to do, but anyway, that's just a few ideas. Also, whilst I was down there, I used my zebra pot. So on my base camp, so I took the big one. I took both actually. I took the standard pot and put full of stuff, which you'll see in the videos, which I offloaded into my sister's car, brother-in-law's car, so they could carry it down for me. Obviously, normally if I'm just out for an overnight, I just take the standard pot, what have you. But whilst I was down there, I had a little thinking session, and whilst I was cleaning it up, because I use this in my kitchen, or at least 2 or 3 times a week for making rice or pasta or boiling veg, because it works on a little induction one, because it's a magnet will stick to it, so it works on that. And so, as you know, I prefer black pots, but I clean them up again for use in my kitchen, ready for until the next trip, with Scotch pad or wire wool. The securing strap, I think I've mentioned, but I'm not sure, is an old cycling toe clip strap, which are very useful. I've been a cyclist for since I was about 12 years old, so I have tons of old cycling gear left around. These are very useful to come by, very strong. If you know I've got an old friend who's been a cyclist, he may have 1 or 2 lying about. Anyway, big do's and little do's. Whilst I was cleaning it off, I had a little thought. Now this is an old zebra pot that was bought in Malaysia for a trip to rainforest with a poncho and a hammer. And I noticed the newer ones have these plastic inserts which go in here, which hold the lid on, as such. Yeah, but I decided, well, I reckon I could do that. Plus I've heard a lot of people have taken them off because they're frightened of using it in an open fire setting, frightened they're going to melt and make a mess. Well, I'd already made a wire, just a simple U wire, bail arm, and I thought, well, I could adapt this, and that's what I've done with the pliers. It took me about 5 or 10 minutes. You can see the shape I've got on there, identical on both sides. So now it clips in, and because of that, it sort of latches down there and doesn't flop about on the bottom of the cross member there. And the other thing it does is when it's cooking or whatever, or you want water to boil fast, so you leave that on. But if you have an accidental knockover, of course it won't come off. So that works well, and that's just wire coat hanger. A better thing to make it out of would possibly be another cycling spare, worth going to the cycle shop for if you're not a cyclist. I haven't got round to doing it because I've got tons of wire coat hangers I've inherited. Stainless steel spokes, which can be bent, a bit harder to bend, but they'll last a lot longer, a bit harder to work with. They will last a lifetime of the pot. This is 8 years old. It's been used a lot and used daily, or almost daily, in my kitchen. So that's a testament to how good zebra pots are. Right, the other thing that I also thought about while I was steadily cleaning all the black stuff off and whatever was, you've seen me use this before, which is a handle from an old mini Trangia. Instead of having 2 key rings now, I put an O-ring there, a key ring there, so I can just slide and lock the handle on. It's made out of spring steel, and again, I've had this 30 years at least. Just something I kept from the mini Trangia. And so that enables me to grab the pot normal handle wise, and away we go. But it also occurred to me that a lot of people won't be able to get hold of these, but what is always in shops is these little grabber handles, but of course they don't lock. So I thought, well, yeah, we could do something with that. And so what I did was I got a bit of old bicycle tube, very useful stuff. You get I have puncture balls, you get tons of elastic bands out of it, and they're very strong. So basically that gives me a spring, so I can clip on, and it just stays there. So that's a handy little mod to do. The other thing I thought about while I was there, like messing about, was, oh, well, could I utilise these to make a handle for this pot? So then I've got a handle for 2 things, because I can use this as a mini frying pan. So what I came up with this was actually the handle of an old sieve that was in the kitchen. Well, not old, but it was, I thought, oh, well, it's chromed, it looks nice, so I'll use that, so I snipped it off. A few more bends with the pliers, chop, and also a bit more wire coat hanger, chopped off and bent round with a pair of pliers, so I've got something like this. What happens now is I can clip in underneath, slide the wire coat hangers in, the little spacing piece which effectively locks it in there, and now I've got another useful handle. And if you do that, you've got rid of all the problems of melting. You've got rid of the problem of getting the pot on and off the fire without the bail arm, or which could be hot. etc, etc. So those are the little mods I've done there. I forgot to bring my Zippo lighter out, and I was going to show you another little mod I've done since I saw it on I was trolling through YouTube the other night, and basically all you do is get a piece of inner tube again, which I have loads of, and put it around the outside of the Zippo, which so it covers where the lid and the body join, and put a little lip on it so you can just roll it down like a sleeve. That way it becomes very water resistant, i.e. you can drop it in the stream and it won't affect it, provided you can get it out reasonably quick. I would like to leave it in there about half an hour, but certainly within a couple of minutes just get it out and it should withstand it. So it's very water resistant. And the other benefit it has is that one problem that's, although the classic light have been around since the 1930s, and because they work so well, especially out in the wind, which is why I have one, the lighter fuel doesn't last long. If you get a couple of weeks out of one, if you're a smoker like me. But what you can do is, if you get yourself a piece of inner tube, again, if you know someone, a cyclist who's had a poncho, or even if you go to the bike shop, they don't cost a lot to get a piece of an inner tube, and just cut yourself a sleeve on. And I've one of the guys who showed this on YouTube said it lasted for, you could let one last for a couple of months inside his pack. You know, if you just use it for the odd light, which we do. The other thing about he mentioned about the Zippo was it's worthwhile taking out the wadding and putting cotton wool in, because even if you run out of fuel, you've got a source of tinder that will light easily. In fact, I'm not so sure. I think I've done this years ago. You can actually light pulled out cotton wool. You can light it with a spark from a flint. So you've always got a source of fire. Right. Now I'm just going to take the before off the tripod. I am using the little paper clip mod, and I've got a proper tripod today. And I'll just show you this little setup. Now you can do this with the tarp. I want to show you how the Basha is good, because it's got a few bits and pieces on it. It makes it a bit more flexible. Plus they're cheap to buy, so although they're a bit heavier, they're very robust, virtually indestructible, and they've got lots of bits on them. Certainly a lot cheaper than a DD tarp anyway, and just a little bit smaller. Right, back again. Right, as you can see, all I've done is a very simple setup here. Just four little four little bungees just hooked into the straps. It's a very quick setup. The breeze isn't too bad, but obviously if you've got up, I've put some more guy lines on. You've got loops here, you've got peg holes, stake holes, so I can pin it right down to the ground instead of got any higher, and get pretty much enclosed. Just bungee cords, just 4 bungee cords. Here we are inside. You can see one of my latest purchases here. We've got this fold-up NATO or German Army slip mat, which fits very nicely into the back of a rucksack. It's a surplus one. You can see there's a few nicks in it, but nothing to worry about. Certainly, it's very thin, but it's enough to keep you insulated from the ground. And on a surface like this grass, I'd be perfectly comfortable. Bivy bag, sleeping bag, no need for a ground sheet. Away you go, and click away in the morning if you're on an overnighter. It's just as you can see inside, there are loops where I've put the at the far end and at the front end where I've just twisted the walking poles into. One of the reasons I got these was I like the handles on them, and they're going to not be too sharp on the surface or rip the tarpaulin. Plus they're on that very heavy duty seam that runs down the centre of the Basha. pointy ends in the ground, and I would, if it was softer ground, then I'd put the snow ski type cups on them to stop them sinking, or even put stones underneath them, flatter stones, just to stop them sinking in. Right, I think that's about it. This setup took me about 3 minutes to set up. It's that damn fast, which is the appeal of using a tarp or a basher. As I say, if the weather comes in, even from where I am, I can just start pegging down, then make it more weatherproof. Keep the arse end into the wind where the weather's coming from, and whichever way it's coming, I can adjust the poles or adjust, to keep me so I'm in the dry. Right, I'm going to put this on a tripod again because I want to show you something. Right, what I wanted to show you was this little thing. Again, I got it for a trip when I went out to Southeast Asia, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, and it's a backpacking bolly. It's made by a German firm called Swing. I use Swing Light Flex. Very simple, very lightweight, easy to stick in your rucksack or up the side. Use the length of it. Just a geometric lock there, there's no snack or anything. Made out of, I'm guessing, fiberglass or something. All I know is it's very strong, because it's been blown out loads of times, and it's now about 8 years old. But you'll see in the Cornish videos that I use it for a cooking station. Just a quick setup what we got there. You wanted something to brew or something to it, and we had set up a proper windshield for the cooking station, so I just utilised this and put gas burners. We had some gas burners and my mess stove and whatever. The thing about this is, because it has this loop, you can peg that to the ground, stake that to the ground, and you put a stake on the other end. You just put that loop back on its velvet up, and you've got 1, 2, 3 point suspension, very secure, doesn't move, and you've got yourself a quick windshield with plenty of ventilation for you to do your cooking. The other thing is, of course, I can use this as a makeshift door if I bring the size of the basher right down. I can also, if I'm on a cliff and there's a bit of a draft, have enough room to stick that under there, keep your head underneath it, and it keeps the draft off. So, yeah, well, there's the logo. I don't know if you can see that. And a brolly like this or something similar is quite useful, not just for keeping the rain off, but when you're in really hot conditions, you've got a good piece of shade on open ground. You've a good piece of shade on open ground, and you're allowing as much air to get to cooling air to get to your head as possible. So that's why I carry one. Anyway, that's the end of this video from sunny Lancashire tonight. Not bad for September. Apparently we're going to get a lot more decent weather, so I hope it goes on for as long as it did last year. It went right on into October. We had really good weather last year. Not been as good as summer this year. In fact, it's the worst summer in 3 years, but still not bad. Cheers for now. Oh, any likes, of course.